Hey, welcome to the Drep and Stone podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Nick.
Ooh, that
Nick.
was you threw me there for a second. I was like, what?
Got you right in the face with it. Nick.
But it's the
Nick.
exactly.
Sorry.
How's your week, man?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything interesting happened this week?
No.
Nothing
out of the ordinary.
Pause there was like a little.
Nothing out of the ordinary, man.
Okay.
Just living life.
Yeah.
Working shifts and, looking forward to days off.
Listen, I know that feeling.
just living the dream.
Yeah.
How about you?
I've been doing a lot of planning lately.
Nice.
And as much as I love vacations, and I actually do like vacation planning, it's kind of nerve-wracking.
Can be, for sure.
Yeah, because like here's where I am.
Yep.
You and I are traveling together in a couple months.
Got a big trip
coming up. I'm thinking in these terms.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, so I want to take a train from city A to city B.
Right.
But I know time difference wise, if I am going in the morning, this train leaves at 8:10 in the morning. For me, that's like 1 in the morning. Should I wait until 10:30 and give myself a little bit more time to sleep?
Right.
Or should I just rip that Band-Aid off and just do the thing?
Sure.
And acclimate to the time and just pay the price on the other end.
Right.
So that's where I am, and I'm kind of like stuck in that what do I do?
Right.
And you know me, it's hard to make a decision sometimes.
It's a tough place to be, for sure. I mean,
it's a great place to be. In I recognize the privilege of that, and
it's an exciting place to be.
There it is,
and it's just not knowing the unknown.
Exactly.
I think it's always good to err on the side of caution, but at the same time, you can also understand, toughen up.
Yeah,
we can do it.
We'll
get through it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of toughening up and doing the thing,
yeah,
you want to drink something?
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, I got some. I got a little thing. Thought maybe we should drink it. It's a sunny little thing.
Yeah,
it's a little thing from the Sierra Nevada Brewing Company.
Ooh.
It's the Sunny Little Thing.
Oh, okay.
Citrus wheat ale.
Ooh.
Actually, what we've got is a little thing variety pack. It's got all the little things in it.
I can't.
It's got a sunny little thing in it, a wild little thing in it, hazy little thing, and a big little thing. And we're gonna have all those things, all those little things. But these are a few of my favorite things.
Favorite little things.
Favorite little things.
I love it. I love it. I was thinking of something like, what can I add here? What can I? Nah. He did. He did it. He did the whole thing.
The whole little thing.
I got it. I got it. Okay.
Perfect.
What are your thoughts about Sierra Nevada?
They make beer that generally I enjoy.
Yeah. You haven't been to Sierra Nevada, have you?
I've never been to Nevada.
No, California.
Never been to California.
Sierra Nevada, like the mountains.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
They also have one in Mills River, North Carolina. It's like a little bit south of Asheville.
Gotcha.
It is beautiful.
Like the facility?
Yeah, it's massive, and it's really nice. They've got some really cool fire pits outside.
Yeah.
I've weirdly I think I've only been in cold weather ever. So you sit by that fire pit and you got this big ass Sierra Nevada beer.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
You been to both?
I have not been to the California one.
Okay.
No, I've only been to the North Carolina one.
Gotcha.
And it's beautiful.
Top notch.
Yeah. It's definitely worth going. There's some really great hiking around there.
Yep.
The people are super nice. There's a big restaurant if you want to get some food there. It's great.
Food's good.
Food's good. Shall we?
I think we shall.
Okay. That is a good sound. So we're starting with the Sunny?
We're starting with the Sunny. Ironically enough, it's in an orange can. And by Joe, it smells like right off the bat, just as soon as you open it. It's like orange soda.
Poured up. Man, it looks like orange soda too. Look at that. Ooh. Thank you, sir.
Blop. You know it.
You got any can words?
Can words. Sierra Nevada Sunny Little Thing. Citrus wheat ale.
Oh, okay.
5% ABV.
Nice. Citrus wheat ale.
Citrus wheat ale.
So hence the orange soda nature.
Yeah. Ale with natural flavors.
It's a little hazy, but you got some floaty, hazy, weedy stuff going on there. Kind of like it.
They've got here a little tag on the top of the can. Family owned, operated, and argued over.
I've been there. I know that.
Like a good family should.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little orangey on the color.
And orangey on the nose too. Man, that is
very juicy.
Very juicy.
Yeah. It's kind of surprising they didn't go ahead and throw this in as the juicy little thing.
Yeah. The sunny juicy. The juicy sunny little thing.
Sunny D.
Wow. That reminds me of something else. I've had something that is like exactly that nose. Man, I can't place it though. Like does a Blue Moon smell very close to that?
Perhaps. I mean, that's a wheat ale.
Yeah. Maybe
served
I'm thinking
with an
like,
orange.
I was gonna say maybe I'm thinking like with the orange slice on the side
Right.
when people do it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like it.
It has that
Tangy. It's tangy.
It is tangy. Like the nose conjures childhood breakfast to me.
Yeah, like
kind of Fruit
cheap
Loopy
orange juice and Fruit Loops.
Yeah, totally.
Like orange juice. Do you ever have like Minute Maid concentrate?
Well, Sunny D. I mean, it's
sure,
sure, very much that Sunny D tartness.
Yeah,
but then it's got like that wheat sweet also.
Yeah,
that kind of creamy sweetness on the side of it
Man,
too.
that smells beautiful.
Yeah.
All right,
Pop tarty.
Cinnamon toast crunch.
There you go.
Going in. Ooh. But it's not as sweet as the nose would let you believe.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
Definitely more wheat forward on the palate.
Yeah.
Man, delightful like wheat aftertaste.
It's like just a slight hint of a bitter, but like a really nice like oaty kind of note.
Cheerio
on
the back end.
Man, I love that it's not sweet. Like it's hints. You get like a pop.
Yeah.
It's not the same as a nose where you feel like it's going to be cheap orange juice sweet.
Yeah. Oh man, do you remember? I don't know if we ever featured it on the podcast, but there was the from I want to say it was Blue Point.
Was the
Sunshine something.
Yes, and I think we actually did feature it in an episode.
Did we?
Yeah. Oh man, what was that? It was like 9.5% or something
hefty ABV on that thing.
Yeah.
And I remember loving it at first, but by the time I got through the 6-pack, I was like, oh, it's too much.
Yeah.
Way too much.
What was that
And it
called?
was like BOGO too. So like I had like 2 6-packs. So by the time I worked all the way through that thing, I was like, I never want to drink this again.
Yeah. It was really good for like half a can.
Yeah.
And after that, you're like,
But yeah, no, this doesn't do that to you. Doesn't overwhelm you with sweet.
Nope. It's light.
It's pretty light. Gives you that Cheerio aftertaste, man.
Yeah. Refreshing.
Yeah, just I'm right back to childhood. Got my Cheerios and my Sunny D, ready for the day. I'm ready to conquer anything. And by anything, I mean like flag football.
And playground, the shenanigans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that is quite good.
Yeah. Spot on.
Yeah, absolutely.
5%. Go through quite a few of these.
Yeah, put that in put that in your backpack. Take it hiking with you if you want.
Good to go.
Shake it up a little bit. Oh, man. Okay. So now that we've started this flight, if you will.
There you go.
Speaking of playground shenanigans, I figure we should talk about a show that it's been out for a little while, like all the episodes.
Sure.
And that is The Last of Us.
Oh, the HBO Max series.
HBO, yeah. Is it on regular HBO? Is it even like HBO a thing?
I have no idea.
Okay, I don't either. I just got the streaming. Yeah.
I cut the cable cord
We're there,
15 years ago.
Wow.
Like, my kids were little when we got rid of it. Like we totally like just went to Netflix for a long time there.
You fancy.
Yeah. Well, it was at the time it was a cost cutting.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's financially
it was
driven.
A financial
Yeah.
like we just don't want to pay for this anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been doing it for a long time. Like as soon as Netflix became a streaming service,
Yeah.
we pretty
You
well
got
did
it.
it. That and YouTube.
I've got HBO courtesy of friend of the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, not that same friend, right?
Probably not.
Okay.
But it'd be interesting to see how long that kind of a thing lasts. It seems like they're starting to try to figure out ways
at least I think Netflix has figured out how to cut down on it somehow.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how that damages their brand.
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of thing. That,
Yeah.
like, that pisses people off, and they're just like, "Well, screw you."
I'm sure there will be that, but I'm of the I'm gonna ride that wave until I get caught.
Same, and I think the larger outcome of it might potentially be that they all actually lose from it.
Yeah, I think so.
Because what it would end up being is like, all right, well, I'm going to have Netflix for this month and cancel everything else.
Exactly.
All right, what do I want to get caught up on? Okay, I'm going to go into HBO Max
100%
this
so.
month.
Yep.
Drop everything else.
That's exact because that's what I'm going to do. Like that's what I did with Apple TV. Like I had Apple TV just because I bought some Apple products and gave it to me for a couple months for free.
Yep.
Binged everything I wanted and haven't picked it up since.
Right.
But once Ted Lasso season 2 is done, I'm gonna pick it back up and have it for a month and then shut it back down again.
There you go.
So yeah, I think you're right.
I think they all kind of will end up losing from it. But anyway,
Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Yeah.
When did you first become aware of the concept of The Last of Us? Just like that story.
Well, when the video game, because it's based on a video game. So for listeners who don't know, which I'm sure people know at this point.
Yep.
I was aware that the game existed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play the game. I didn't have a PlayStation, so I didn't play the game.
Yep.
Because I think it was PlayStation exclusive, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, still is.
Okay. So I didn't play the game, but I knew it existed, but I only knew of the story in terms of like guy and girl and zombies of something. And
Right.
I like that was essentially it.
Yep.
And honestly, like that's what I knew all the way up to watching it.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I, for no reason in particular, but I know you're familiar with the game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch any playthroughs. I've never played it. I again, just kind of knew what the story was about, but that was basically it.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
When I was in college, like my third go around, had a guy
Is that because of Alabama or in spite of Alabama?
in spite of, actually,
Okay.
I think. No, I was in my
You were back at school.
I was back at school. I had already gone, got the degree, gone again, got another degree, was back. It was my third time at college. Had a guy turn me on to The Last of Us. Was just raving about it one day, telling me how amazing it was. It was the future of gaming, the future of storytelling because of the immersive aspect of it.
Yeah.
How it's, it was more story driven. It was story focused, not really, gameplay, but like the graphics and everything were top of the line. After doing a little bit of like research and like trying to figure out what it was all about, like I did back then. This was over a decade ago.
Yeah.
No, within a decade, 7, 8, 9 years ago, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
But after doing my research, I did end up watching a playthrough on YouTube of a guy that played through the whole game. That was my introduction to it way back then.
Yeah.
So had always like realized, or I guess understood the ability that it would have to be some sort of a entertainment thing beyond the game, of whether that be a movie or a show. Mm-hmm. Was kind of surprised it took as long as it did to be utilized, but I think the TV series was the right way to go with it.
Yeah. Rather than like a movie.
Yeah. Just because like because it is a game, and I think the game playthrough generally is like somewhere like around 15-hour playthrough to do everything, and that's not even like to do like all of it. That's just like kind of
the main storyline. Yeah.
But the game itself has so much detail put into it, and like so many things that you can discover and stuff like that all apply to the story. I think that, it was almost kind of like, it's kind of has to be a series, something that you're not going to fit it into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. When it first came out, which was 2013, I've played video games since a kid. We talked about this on episodes, but I was more into the pew pew games.
Sure.
And since have kind of gotten away from that. And so for me, when it came out, it was not a pew pew.
Right.
And I was like,
well, I mean, I was the same way of like, I didn't have a PlayStation.
Right.
And that was the only way you could play it. And I wasn't going to go buy a PlayStation just to play it.
Nah, me neither.
Didn't know somebody I could borrow a PlayStation from or anything like that. So just didn't.
Yeah. But I knew people kind of in the same sphere. And I mean, we knew each other in 2013, that we had people that we knew that played it.
Sure.
But just like it never caught on.
Well, and at that point in time too, obviously like there were games that were, very, very influential and things like that. But like this game, for me anyway, like at that point in time, games were not like, yes, you've got to get this thing and play that game for the story.
Correct.
The story was like secondary. It's like, here's the bit that we add on to the game. Like I remember one of the Star Wars Battlefront games being like this huge release, and like the story mode was like completely secondary.
Oh yeah.
Nobody cared about that. They all cared about the multiplayer.
It was all the multiplayer.
How can we get in there and
I think it was Battlefront 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And like just the story aspect of it was like completely, nobody cared.
Yeah, nobody cared.
Or this game, that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just the story.
Oh, okay.
So it was a bit of a change in direction for what was at the time, the big aspect of gaming.
That was always my perspective of like cutscene skip.
You're
I don't care.
Yeah, no,
Like,
I just need to get back to like killing stuff.
Pew pew.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so like it's interesting now going back for me and like going back and playing games that, you know, came out at that point in time and like actually paying
Halo.
attention to the story, Halo, or like for me, like Assassin's Creed. I love the
Sure.
Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
But like I didn't care about the story.
Right.
Like my whole purpose was assassin
Right.
ning.
Right.
And so like I didn't care, but I went back and I played the first couple not that long ago, kind of during quarantine era. And man, they're fantastic. Like the story's great.
Right.
And you know, you get all this like cool action stuff, but the story's fantastic.
Right.
I didn't care about any of that. I just wanted to, you know,
Pew
sword
pew.
people. I didn't care about any of that.
Yeah, I know.
So before we get into spoiling some of the TV show and discussing
Yeah,
our thoughts,
actual story.
yeah, should we grab another beer?
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay. We're going with the wild little thing, right?
Next is wild.
All right, let me go grab it.
It's gonna get wild, wild and crazy.
Kids.
You're like one of the only people I've ever said that like knows what that is.
Wild and crazy kids.
Wild and crazy kids. But like that's never one that's like included in any like Nickelodeon montage.
All right, you want me to pour this one?
Go ahead, man.
Okay.
Wild little thing, a little pink can.
Ooh, it's a slightly sour ale.
Yeah.
It says guava, hibiscus, and strawberry.
A lot of fruit.
Comes in at 5.5% ABV. The can reminds me of a Starburst.
Yeah, indeed it does.
Now that I like look at it.
Starburst, the main wrapper's yellow.
Yeah.
And obviously like the best one's the pink. Pink Starburst. Well done, sir.
Thank you. I expected it to be the exact color it is.
Yeah, well, now that it's like there, like as you're pouring it, I was like, ooh, rosé. But
Yeah,
like, now
no,
that I'm
it's-
actually like, looking at it, it's got a pink flare to it, but it's still like the base color of it's still kind of like in the ballpark of a
Starburst. That's all.
Look at that. That color.
No, it's definitely like,
You know, it's
yeah.
like if it wasn't for the pinkness of the foam,
Sure.
you would see that and just think, yeah, beer.
Yeah, you're right. It's beer, but with like a slight red tint.
Yeah, little
just a little red.
little red haze on it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
man! On that nose, I just get guava.
Yeah. Tart.
Yeah.
Tang.
Man, do you like guava?
Little tang. Huh?
Do you like guava?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I
indeed.
love like a guava jelly.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I work at a place where the passion fruit orange
yeah.
guava juice is
Yeah.
all the rage.
ooh.
The pog.
It's really funny on the nose. I get guava initially,
Yeah.
and then I get strawberry. It reminds me of Florida in a glass.
Yeah, and I get that all wrapped around this like really tartness. Like there's like this sour
Yeah.
element that's already like the back of my jaw. It's already giving me that little like
Salivation. Yeah. Man, it literally like this reminds me of Florida just in general, like hibiscus. We
Yeah.
got hibiscus flowers here.
oh yeah, hibiscus. Right on.
Yeah. And it's like, again, I go guava initially, strawberry, and then like hibiscus flower is not super sweet,
Yeah.
but it's got like a tangy sweet.
Yeah.
You ever eaten one?
Yeah.
Tangy sweet.
Sure.
Oh, that nose is quite good.
You know, when we were looking at the options of doing some sort of a variety pack like this,
Yeah.
I love the fact that all four of these beers are completely different.
Yeah.
Different styles, and they're not even like remotely similar.
You could not like very easily, you could tell these two together. If you had them back to back, absolutely.
Yeah.
Put in a lineup in a blind, you would know which is which.
Right. Like all four of these are different, and they're all, we'll see, but I think they're all pretty great.
All right, shall we?
Yeah.
Wow. When it said slightly sour, I was a bit like, okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
That's exactly what this is.
Yep.
It's not a sour beer,
Correct.
and it's not a regular beer.
Right.
It's just,
Yeah.
a little bit of tartness there.
It's not that like aggressive sour, which can be absolutely what you want.
Yep.
Can be like you want to battle with it.
Dill
You
pickle
want
beer.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
want that thing to be like you want that thing to be like just ripping at your jaw. Like,
Yeah.
"Eesh, whoa, that's tough. No, it's just a subtle little sour.
Man, that is great. That right there, if you gave this to someone who's like, I'm not a big fan of sours, that I think would make them a fan of sours.
Yeah, that would be the opening, the introduction that you want to it.
Yeah,
But man, all day long, I sip that and I'm like, I'm right on the beach. Man.
for sure.
Right on the waterfront.
Yeah.
Bacon. Not baking.
Oh, okay.
But like baking in the sun.
Oh, okay.
I've got sand in places.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Gonna take me a while to get it out of.
Sure. Ain't no water gonna clean that
That's
out.
great.
Man, or any outdoor activity, spending some time outdoors, boating, hanging out. Man, that would be a great post outdoor drink.
A little cornhole.
Ooh, yeah, that is
It's
summery.
fun. It's really fun.
It is fun. Is the right
That's
way
a fun
to approach
drink.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not aggressive.
Nope.
It's not something that you really got to consider. It's just easy drinking.
It's not. I appreciate it because it's not super sweet. Those notes I could feel like could go very easy sweet.
Yeah.
And just like
Yeah.
and it's not that at all.
And two, it's like it's not that you get some of those sours that like your tongue just like cinches up.
Yeah.
Really bad. But this, like, you can hold this in your mouth for a while.
Oh yeah.
Really chew on it. Delightful.
Yeah. That is great.
Yeah.
There's nothing to not like there.
Yep. Just summer in a glass.
Do they sell that on its own?
You can get a 6-pack of it.
You can just the
I think like when I was there, you
Wild
get
Little
you get a 6-pack of just about. I don't know if you get the Sunny,
okay.
but you could definitely get a 6-pack of the other.
Well,
the other ones.
I mean, so far, not that I don't like the Sunny, but I want that Wild Little Thing. That's great.
Yeah, it takes the, I guess, like, volume as far as like the flavor.
Yeah.
On the Sunny, I would say was like at like around a 5.
Sure.
This like bumps it up to like 6.5, 7.
Yep. But it doesn't bump up the sweet and the heavy either.
Yeah, no, it's just flavor.
See, and that's what I find with a lot of beers is that to get the balance of flavor and lack of heaviness
Right.
is an art form. Because, like, I mean, you can chuck a lot of hops into something and then just make it heavy as hell.
Right.
And it's got a lot of flavor, but it's like, it's heavy.
Yeah.
But this,
I need a nap afterwards.
correct. But this, man, it's got a lot of flavor. And it's not heavy.
Nope.
But it does have a little 5-5.
Yeah, little extra pop.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so back to The Last of Us. And,
All right.
and let's say from here on out, spoilers abound.
There you go.
Okay?
Yeah.
So being that you were familiar with the game,
Yeah.
okay, what were your expectations coming into a series based on the game?
I was really looking to see how much of that detail that's in the game are they able to include. I think it was well known ahead of time it was only going to be a 9-episode series, and it just was like, depending on how long the episodes are we really going to be able to get that in there? Mm-hmm. And honestly, for me, the huge thing was the casting of like getting the characters right, because the story is so important in the game. You already had a connection to who these characters are.
Right.
And it could go badly really quick if you don't cast it just right.
Yeah. And like, again, because I didn't have any sort of relationship to it, everything I saw leading up to production before these people were cast, and it was like, who would make the perfect Joel?
Right.
And there was a lot of names thrown around. There was a lot of people that were like, okay, this person would make a great Joel. This person would make a great Ellie. I know that the video game community was behind some people, was like up in arms about some other people, kind of back and forth. Why don't you just use Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson? They already know these parts, but they both don't fit it. I mean, Ashley Johnson is, in her 30s, 40s at this point.
Right.
So like she's the one who does the motion capture of everything for
The voice.
and the motion capture for Ellie. Yeah, she's almost 40 at this point. So like, she wouldn't fit a 19-year-old girl.
Right.
Troy Baker's a little, if you've seen pictures of him or you've seen him, he's a little bit lankier. He's not as like rugged as Joel's supposed to be.
Right.
So
And they both utilize them in the series.
in the series. Yeah. Ashley Johnson is Ellie's mother in the final episode, and Troy is one of the
kind of a henchman.
Yeah, one of the Raiders or Fedra henchmen or something. No, he's not Fedra.
He was I know specifically he was one of the henchmen at the kind of the cult episode of like where it's in the snow.
Oh, the
fire at the end where
the
Ellie just absolutely
goes
hacks
ape
into
shit.
that
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Episode 8.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, towards the end.
Yeah, towards the end. Yeah, he's one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that they were thrown around to be that initially, and like I think it was like, nah, they don't really embody those people.
Right.
Like the voices, yes, and like the motion capture, absolutely, but they don't embody those people.
Yep.
But then they chose what I think is like perfect casting.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to come around to it personally. Like right off the bat, I personally kind of felt like, one, I thought Pedro Pascal was too big of a name.
Okay.
I kept seeing Pedro Pascal, and I wasn't seeing Joel for several episodes.
Oh, really?
I would say like 3 or 4 episodes.
Okay.
Before I really was able to accept him as Joel. It finally got there.
Okay.
Just because like they do such a great job in the game of Joel of feeling like he's from the South.
Yeah.
And having the right twang and just the right, I don't know, mannerisms and things. They nail that so well in the game that it took me a little while, just because it's Pedro Pascal.
Sure.
You know, you're everywhere right now. You know,
that's a good point.
You're a celebrity, like capital C.
Yeah.
So that one took me a while. Ellie took me a little while too, because even though in the game she is still very much kind of a tomboy character, in The Last of Us Part 1 anyways, she still has the childlike kind of mannerisms that took me a little while to get used to the actress that plays her in the series too.
Bella Ramsey, yeah.
So both of those took me a little while, but I think by the 3rd or 4th episode, like I was pretty well.
So for me, I mean, obviously not having any relationship to it, like I was bought in pretty early.
Yeah.
I will say like his accent ebbs and flows so much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you're not from Texas. But
well, and they kind of, I feel like they kind of like adjusted that, like, you know, made them more like, you know, Tex-Mex, kind of, you know, kind of a thing, like that Texas,
Hispanic. You know, I know what you're saying.
Texas Southern, but like Mexican influence. I don't think he is necessarily. I just think that's the way they characterize the character in the series.
But I think like in terms of what you're saying and some of the stuff that I've seen after watching it, or watching the first season, after watching the series so far, is that like Joel's Texas twang is more prominent in the game. Right. Like he is like, he's from Texas.
Yes. Yeah. And it's just, you know, it's a very specific feel.
Right.
And the mannerisms, just the approach to the character.
I mean, that to say, like, for me, I was bought in pretty early, even though it's Pedro Pascal, because what I did see images of Joel and Ellie before watching the series. So like that square jaw, that kind of like not
rough, gruff.
Yeah, rough and gruff, not like super athletic, but like built.
Right.
And not that Pedro Pascal's a big dude, but like that square shouldered, you know, strong, kind of masculine, rugged figure. Yep. And then like this girl who is tomboy-esque, still a little diminutive, still like hasn't fully come into her own. She's not a woman yet. She's not a kid yet. Or she's not a kid still. So there's like, I felt that it worked well.
Yeah.
Is Ellie blonde in the game though?
No.
Oh, okay. She is like the same haircut. Oh, okay.
His daughter is.
His daughter is.
Like,
so
like his daughter in the series is completely different.
So before we get into like some of the things that we liked and disliked and some of the deeper philosophical perspectives, initially here's my worry going into it, that every other adaptation of video games that I've seen it goes one of two ways. And that is like, you're not true enough to the game, or you're taking like the storyline of a game that everyone is pew-pewing and not really caring about the storyline, and you're trying to make it a storyline.
Right.
Or you go the realm of like, we're going to do this beat for beat, and we're going to try and give the audience the video game experience.
Right.
And the first episode worried me a little bit.
Okay.
Because that scene where Sarah gets in the truck is shot very, very, very much like a video game cutscene.
Sure.
And I don't know if that's a cutscene in the actual game or not, but like it was so cutscene-y to me that I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Please don't do this.
Yeah.
And there's like little bits and pieces that seem cutscene to me. And those of you that are gamers, like you'll know that, because like the camera angle is just not natural in terms of filmmaking. Like
Right.
the camera angle in that scene is like from Sarah's perspective, and it kind of moves back and forth between Joel and Tommy, Joel and Tommy, and like it kind of spins around and does things that like cameras don't do, and like sometimes you get like a top down view that's just a little awkward.
Yeah.
And that happens in video games, but it doesn't really happen in cinema very often.
Yeah.
So like initially I was like, please don't do that.
Yeah, that first episode is very true to the game in a lot of those aspects. Little bit of like added storyline, like the neighbors, and that whole thing was totally an add-on.
Oh,
like,
that wasn't in the game?
That's not in the game.
Yeah.
Like they like might reference the neighbors, but like she doesn't go into their house and like meet them or anything like that in the game. But other than that, like the first episode is pretty well like beat for beat, like that all happens in the game. And it definitely changes throughout the episodes. Like, there are some episodes that like are completely not in the game at all. So I think it was important that they, the story writer of Last of Us was involved.
Yeah, Neil
100%.
Druckmann, I think his name is. Yeah,
He was totally involved in every aspect of the show, and I think that's like the most important thing.
Yeah.
For it to work.
Well, and you had the guy who did Chernobyl. I don't know if you saw Chernobyl, which fantastic.
Yeah, really?
Craig Mazin, who I think he directed and or wrote Chernobyl, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So very similar. Like you have one person who knows intimately the content of
Right.
Last of Us, and another person who knows intimately like how HBO does HBO things.
Right.
So you have both perspectives, and I think they come together and they work.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, they really came together
Yeah.
very well.
Very well.
Very well.
Before we get into what we liked, what we didn't like, favorite things, stuff like that, you want to go do another beer?
One more beer.
Well, we got two more, but we got to go through one more.
One more to get to that last one.
Yeah.
Wait a second. First of all, had you ever had Wild Little Thing?
No, sir.
That was your first?
That was it.
Had you ever had Sunny?
No, sir.
Have you ever had Big?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've had the next two.
Yeah, I've had the next
Okay.
two. Yeah.
Okay.
But I've never had the Sunny or the Wild.
What'd you think?
I'm for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both great.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's a good pack.
I would never turn either one of those down. If I had the choice, which would I rather, Sunny versus Wild? I'm going to go with the Wild.
Yeah.
Like, if which one do you want? Give me that Wild.
But like, how great to have 4 beers in a pack that are all that different, but
Oh, yeah. But
solid.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's go to our next one.
Hazy
Little Thing.
Little Thing.
All right. You want to open it?
Yeah, Hazy Little Thing. I do like all the colors. Like
Put the cans back to back?
Yeah, they're fun.
They are. They know what they're doing marketing-wise. Sounds like you just opened a can.
Oh, IPA just slapped me in the face. Damn.
Hit me with some can words right quick.
Can words. Hazy Little Thing. IPA.
That's it?
Yep.
You got an ABV?
6.7.
Ooh. All right.
A little jump
Little
up.
jump.
Little jump up. But hey, I mean, we're familiar with this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one's an old buddy.
You know what? This is Carol's favorite beer, or it's up there. It's top 3 for sure.
No kidding.
Yeah, for sure.
This is definitely a beer that if I'm out anywhere,
Yep.
and I know they've got this on tap, I'm good.
Yeah, it's going to be solid.
I
It's
can
a
totally, like,
solid
if
pour.
there's nothing else that I want to try, man,
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with Hazy Little.
And that's exactly where Carol is too. She's like, y'all got Hazy Little Thing? All right, yeah, just give me one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Man, it is hazy.
It's hazy. ain't seeing through that at all.
Nah, there's some chonky bits in there too.
Yeah.
Just slight chonky.
That's what they do.
Yeah. I would say it reminds me of like orange juice colored.
Yeah.
Like a light orange juice.
Yeah, like light orange juice. Like it's still leaning beer
Oh,
color.
yeah, it's definitely beer.
But yeah. What you got on the nose?
I get IPA.
Yeah, a juicy IPA.
Yeah. Overall, when I think of like hazy IPAs, it's a lot of it's a combination of a bunch of different things.
Sure.
You get a little bit of fruit notes here and there. You get some orange, you get some citrus, some other citrus like lemons,
Yeah, like it's the added on fruitiness and like a touch of like creaminess on the nose.
Yes.
That separates it from just like a traditional IPA, which is more so just like hops and bitterness and
Yeah. But like it's that like there's some sweet, there's some bitter, there's some fruity notes.
A little danky.
Little danky.
Subtle dank.
Subtle dank.
It's delightful.
Yeah. It says drink.
Yeah, it says guzzle this.
It really does.
Like I am like tempted to just house this.
Yeah. Please just toss all of this back.
Yeah.
God, it
motion.
literally like it makes me salivate. It's that
Me
exact
too,
thing.
man.
It's like a little
I
bit
know
umami.
this is gonna be so good.
Yeah. All right, going in.
Okay. Try to control
Twist my
myself.
arm.
Yeah, it's really not fair.
So like this takes me right back to the Sierra Nevada distillery.
Gives me chills, man.
Sitting by the fire, hanging out with my dad, my stepmom.
Ah,
Yeah, sister,
fantastic.
sister's boyfriend.
It's got such a great mouthfeel.
Oh yeah,
Like-
it's creamy,
It's got a little texture.
but it's not lactose creamy.
Sure. But it's got a little weight to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, it's definitely heavier than both of the previous two.
Absolutely.
It is not as like the nose says crush it, but the palate it's a little heavier, and like once you take a sip, like you kind of want to crush it.
Yeah, you still
But,
wanna
like,
crush it.
But like you're like, oh wait, but I probably shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, no,
I could.
the palate suggests like, whoa, savor this.
Yeah.
You still do. It's like it's the same thing with like a great steak. It's like I want to chop this up into 4 bites and just eat it. It's the same thing here. Like you really want to just like, you know, that Hershey pie. I just want to eat that whole thing, but it's like, whoa, you can't do that. You need to slow down. You need to slow down. Really enjoy this.
Savor it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. That bitter, like you get bitter right away.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like overtaken by those lovely fruity notes, that like soft effervescence, and then you get bitter again on the back of the palate.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, but it's never like the bitter never goes above like 4.
Yeah, it's not offensive at all.
Yeah.
No, it's
like
really
a lot of
even
IPAs
keel.
can get into that aggressive bitter, which is nice. Can be great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the balance here is so well done.
You know what? Like, I don't know if I'm I'm kind of ashamed to admit this. One of my favorite things about this beer is burping it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. Like it like
It's weird. More citrus comes out on
Exactly.
the burp. You know, it's not so much IPA. It's just
a
citrus
citrusy.
tang.
Yeah, there's a tang there.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it.
That's weird.
I don't think I've ever said that to
Never
anybody
thought
else.
about that,
Yeah,
but
well,
you're totally right.
yeah, like just like a little like, and you're like, oh, well, not that one.
Oh, damn.
God, it is solid.
Good little
it is
thing.
solid.
Yep.
And I will say, like, if anyone is looking to get into IPAs, and man, Hazy's been shit on lately.
Sure.
I mean, we just did an episode not that long ago with someone who, like, he was like, hazy IPAs, don't really like them. And, like, I get that perspective.
Right.
But there is something to a good, knock it out of the park, hazy IPA that just, like, it's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's with anything. It's any style of beer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you absolutely crush a Kolsch?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you can also like really like make a boring like I don't really care for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can have a great light lager. You just have to do it right.
Yeah.
And it's amazing when you find that thing that does get the balance on it just right.
And I think like that's to me weighing everything else against the thing that does it very well.
Right.
And then going like, oh, well, yeah, of course it doesn't measure up to this. It's not that thing. It just doesn't measure up.
Right.
Or going like, actually, no, this thing is as solid as that other thing. And I like it.
Have you had the new Fat Tire?
I have not.
They've changed it completely.
Like
It's
regular,
now-
like legit Fat Tire. They've changed it.
Fat Tire is no longer Fat Tire. They still call it Fat Tire for some reason, but it's a golden ale now.
What?
Yeah. And it's fantastic. Like it's really good.
But Fat Tire was like a straight up lager.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
like
like,
a brown lager.
I was
and
just,
now it's like golden
back in
ale.
December, man. Like I was just at New Belgium in Asheville.
Yep.
What?
They completely redid the whole thing. Like
What?
new mash bill and new everything. It's a different style of beer, but they're still calling it Fat Tire. I don't understand why. Like why did you do that? But at the same time, it's really good.
All right, we gotta get it on.
Yeah, it's weird.
Wow. I mean,
But I don't understand like why not change the name? Call it Spare Tire
or call
something.
it, or call it Fat Tire or Golden Fat Tire or something.
Yeah. Like just to let people know this is not the same beer.
Because Fat Tire to me was always like a go-to, tried and trusty, like trusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, lager.
Yeah.
Like done.
Totally.
Lager.
Like I can trust that.
Yeah, like To me,
be fine.
Yingling is the same way. Like this, you know what you're going to get every time.
Yeah,
it's going to be
but
good.
This is like way better than that.
Wow.
Like it's delightful.
Right.
It's so good. So I'm not that pissed off about it, but I'm still kind of like,
why would you change? Yeah, why would you do that?
Why still call it the exact same thing? Huh. But it's a completely different product.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to try it on the podcast. Mm-hmm. All right. So let me ask you a couple questions.
All right.
Overall,
yeah,
did you like this series, this 9 episodes?
Yeah. I had a good time watching it. Me and my oldest daughter, like we looked forward to it every week. We watched it every week. We had a great time with it.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Like, and for her to have no clue what was going to happen or anything like that, like it was fun watching it with her and seeing her reactions to it, and had a great time with it. You?
Initially, I was worried, and I kind of had to convince Carol to watch it because I was like, I think she's actually going to like this thing. But I was worried that it was just going to do zombie tropes over again. That's what worried me.
Sure.
I was pleasantly surprised that it both did that and it did not do that. I don't think every episode just killed. I think there were episodes that were better than others, and we can talk about that.
Yep.
But I think taken as a whole, as a fully complete story, I really liked it. I will say, I will go so far as to say, like, I loved it. It was great.
I think the biggest benefit of it is that the concept of like this is a thing that already happens in nature.
Yeah.
That 1,000% one little mutation could make this kind of a thing, not like a zombie apocalypse necessarily, but like that this style of fungus could adapt to live in humans being somewhat believable.
Yeah.
Is the best thing about it, that it's not just like, oh yeah, no, like there's some otherworldly thing that's making these zombies exist, but it's not, they're not zombies.
Right.
And that's like a key thing within the story is like they never call them zombies.
No, because they're
not the
not
undead.
Yeah, they're not.
Like it's a living organism that has taken control.
Yeah.
Like it's a different thing.
Yeah, and what I love is like they never refer to them as zombies, they refer to them as infected.
Right.
Because that's exactly what it is.
Right.
But it's also, what I love about it is it's not, first of all, it's not like the dead rising from the grave, like Night of the Living Dead kind of thing. It's not that. It's also not virus. It's something that is, not that viruses couldn't do this, I guess. I mean, I'm not a virologist. I don't know those things for sure.
Right.
But like this is something that is far more plausible.
Yeah.
And it's something that like, oh, okay, like this species of thing already has the ability to do this, and now it just happens to be able to do it in humans because of something we've done, because we've made the planet warmer.
Right.
And like that to me is what's just
we've forced the
fucking
mutation.
poetic about it. Exactly. Like we did this thing. And I think in the series they don't like say that exactly, but they all but say that. Like we did this.
Right.
Like it is our fault. And I love that. The poetic nature of it, to me, it landed so hard of like, you know, you get that very clip in the beginning of like, it's what, maybe the
like
60s or 70s. Yeah, 60s, 70s. And I love that. Like, I think they're both chain smoking, or like I perceive that they're chain smoking if they're not. And it's like, no. Like the real threat is this. And it will probably happen one day. Fast forward to 2003 when like the infection happens.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
It's like, oh, this makes sense. Like,
well, and especially in a time period that we live in where we just went through this like pandemic.
Exactly.
And like other like, you know, scares of like Ebola and things like that or just the idea that this infection could generate such a travesty worldwide is so on the forefront. Like, man, y'all timed this so well.
Exactly. And I think like that to me is also what's impressive, is that it could very easily go trite. Because like, oh, we've seen this. Like we just survived.
Playing off of Corona.
Exactly. Like we, you know, all of us watching it now have lived through this, and like you're doing it. But I think to me, what makes it so successful is the humanity of it, and like the reality of it, like the real nature of the thing.
Sure.
And I think it's just successful as hell.
Well, that, and like, you know, I mean, through past experience of like, yes, like we were able to put together a vaccine relatively quickly, you know, whereas within this thing, all right, imagine like that wasn't an option.
Exactly.
And like this is what that story's playing out. Like there's nothing that you can do like that. There's like either like the 3rd or 4th episode where there's like another like flashback to this doctor somewhere
in like
India or
Jakarta.
something.
No, I think it's in Indonesia, in Jakarta or something, somewhere close.
And like she's like, and they're like, what do we do? How do we stop this? And she's like, bomb the city.
Yeah.
She's like, there's nothing that can stop this. Like there's nothing to be done.
Yeah. Or
if
she's like,
this is what's growing in these people, like we're screwed.
Yeah. Go home. Can I go home to be with my loved ones?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, bummer. So like, I mean, just to have that, that we've come through this thing that we did where there were vaccines, there were precautions that you could take, where something like that, it's like, you get it. It has a little bit more emphasis on it.
And I think it plays on the fear that we all also have now. And now that we've lived through a pandemic, and hopefully that there's not another pandemic, on the horizon, statistically there is, but that there's, one that we can also overcome there. But it's that it plays on that fear of what if we did not?
Right.
What if we could not have?
Right.
This is what would have happened.
Right.
It's also like lucky for us, the coronavirus in the way that it infects people was, proximity and like all these other factors that we didn't understand at that time. But it wasn't like that thing is seeking you out like this is.
Right.
And that is also what makes us even scarier is like, no. Like this virus infects an individual and now it seeks to infect more.
Yeah.
Like that's its goal.
Yeah. That's its sole purpose.
Did I say virus? I meant fungus. I think I said virus. Fungus. What for you was your favorite episode?
I think for me, my favorite episode in this season was episode 5, which is the episode where Joel and Ellie are kind of teamed up with Henry and Sam. And they kind of have their goal of escaping this city that they're at. I think it's Kansas City at the time.
Yep.
Trying to escape out there, and Henry knows how to get them out. They go through the process of getting out there, and they're in their kind of like hideout one night. They wake up the next morning, and Sam, the kid, is infected.
Yeah.
And Ellie, the night before, knew that he was, and like did her thing to where she felt like she could save him and tried her best. But then the next morning, like it's too late, it's done. And Henry is the one that has to take care of Sam, and then the emotions of that, Henry can't live with himself, done.
Yeah.
Like, I think that episode for me, like in the game, it's epic too. Like they do the surprise that Sam is infected the next day is so hard to handle, and it's so shocking. But in the series, again, just because I was watching it with my daughter, like to see that reaction from her of when that happened, like when that episode ended, like it took a good 20 minutes for us to kind of like come down from that one.
I think that is the toughest episode out of the season. Oh, I don't know. Like I say that, episode 8's tough too.
Episode 8, I think, is the most emotionally charged.
Yes. I will say, okay, so I think like up to that point, like you expect all of these things to some degree. If you kind of know that like type of movie, type of game kind of thing, like you expect those things to happen.
Right.
But it's that like realization that the emotion, like you said, the emotionally charged kind of thing, like that has to happen.
Yeah.
And like he can't live with himself because of what he has to do.
Right. And I think for that episode specifically, like I love the casting too of those two characters.
Yeah.
I feel like they were like instances where like I think the casting in the show was better than the game, the way that they did them in the game.
Yeah.
Like I think the changes of like in the game, Sam is not deaf. And so like having that connection of a different type of connection anyway with Ellie in that way,
right,
where he felt more comfortable. Like in the game, it was just different.
For sure.
And so I think that's an instance of like I think they did it better here than they did in the game, which I don't think those instances happen too often. But yeah, no, that was a crazy like shock to the system of like, oh no,
yeah,
like this thing is like relentless. It doesn't matter how innocent you are, how good of a person you are. Like it is
relentless.
The thing.
Yeah. It's
That was a tough one.
it's tough,
But it's a good episode.
and I think it also like lends very well into ultimately I don't think we talked about it, but Ellie is immune to this fungus infection.
Yeah.
And yet like Sam is able to be in the room with her because we learn later in the final episode, like the cordyceps fungus thinks that Ellie is cordyceps too. And yet like he still attacks her. Like he could have bitten her, like he could still rip her to pieces, like the rage that's associated with this, but like he's not trying to infect her. Like he could have done that at some point in that evening or that night, but it doesn't do that because it thinks, and you don't know that as a viewer at the time, but it thinks that she is part of it too.
You kind of do because like I think it's like the second, or might even be in the second episode, like they use whatever the scanner technology is to scan her, and she comes up positive.
Sure.
Like she's got it in her.
Yeah.
It just doesn't survive.
But I think like
in
that's
her
one of the, to me, it's one of the first like instances where you actually see the infected not deal with her in that way. I guess, you know what I mean?
That I feel like that would make more sense of like if the infected never went after her. That would make more sense. But they don't. They still go after her. They still go
after her, yeah. I don't know. It's interesting, yeah.
Which is also like a big divergence from the game is like a huge aspect of the game is these funguses make spores that are airborne.
Right.
And so the people can't breathe those either or you'll get infected.
Yeah.
But Ellie can. Ellie can breathe the spores and not get worse. So there's a lot of things within the game where people have to wear gas masks and things like that where Ellie doesn't have to. I feel like it actually kind of plays more relevance in part 2 where Ellie doesn't, or Joel and Ellie decide to not let people know that she's immune.
Interesting.
And so she still will wear the gas mask.
But she doesn't have to.
Gotcha. So like it's like a reveal of like, I don't need to wear this.
I think they traded that for the mycelium, which is like the weird stringy bits that come out of the mouth and like through the skin and all that kind of thing.
Right.
Which is not that fungus don't spore, but I think that's a little more scientifically accurate maybe to like cordyceps and maybe to like this kind of fungus, I guess.
Right.
So like, and they talk about that a little bit in like some of the making of the episodes, things that I've watched where they're like, they tried to be a little more scientific with how they approach those things. So maybe that's why.
Right. But it was like kind of a key aspect in the game of like, it was like a reveal to Joel.
Sure.
When she didn't have to wear the thing. He's like, you just breathe enough spores, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that was like such a key aspect of the gameplay.
Oh, okay.
So it was surprising that they didn't utilize it, but at the same time, it's like it makes a lot of sense just because like that would require a lot more like effort in the production of a show.
And you got to cover your main characters too.
Yeah.
So
right. So it's not surprising. What was your favorite episode?
I think my favorite episode is what I know now to be the most polarizing episode.
Ooh.
Like the one that when people saw this episode, they were like, I guess there was like a lot of people up in arms about it. And I understand that. But that's the Nick Offerman episode 3, where Nick Offerman and I can't remember the other actor's name, but it's basically a love story in an episode. Frank and Bill. Yeah. Frank. It's basically like a love story of Frank and Bill, which from what I know now is not in the game at all. Like, I guess, they are in the game in kind of an ancillary way. But like this whole storyline is not in the game at all.
Right.
So I recognize like how polarizing and for what reason that episode is polarizing. But to me, even though it's a departure from, I guess, the Last of Us storyline per the game, to me, it presents such a slice of like, what would happen if, how would these things play out? And I love the aspect of like doomsday prepper guy, you know, other person, you know, I don't know. Like to me, it accentuated a love story.
Mm-hmm.
It, to me, is one of the more emotionally deep episodes in terms of presenting a slice of what would happen when the shit hits the fan.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like an interesting episode just because that one specifically, because it was like the entirety of the episode was an add-on.
Yes,
it was all added.
And to be fair, it felt that way. Like I could even tell like this is not part of the game.
Really?
They would not spend this much time doing this. So like I could feel that initially.
Right. Yeah. It was just kind of, as somebody who knew the storyline, it was kind of like almost like a shock of like, whoa, y'all are going really in depth on this character that is like very just kind of like a side story at best in the game.
And I understand, like, that's why it's also problematic for a lot of people, too. Not just, what it presents, but also, like, it's not part of the storyline.
Right.
So, and I get that. But as someone who's not part of the game,
sure,
I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, I did too. It almost, like, felt like it was a different, and I think that's what those little things make it different from the game.
Right.
Was that it's making it its own thing. Like, this is not just a complete, like, retelling of the game.
Sure.
Like that story already exists in a way that like you can go experience that.
Exactly.
And it's beautiful. Yep. It's gorgeous. Go experience it that way. However, this is a different retelling of that story, and here's something that we've changed, added, and decided to emphasize.
And I think that's exactly why I like it too, because knowing story and knowing cinema and knowing like how these things play out, there are elements of predictability.
Right.
And for me, this particular episode changes that. And like I said, I liked it.
And I think it did a great job of that. Like it really like made this character that was really not non-essential in the game.
Yeah.
Really made like an interesting story and added so much depth to the story.
Yeah. To me, just as much as this did, the episode where I think it's episode 7 where we kind of go back to see Ellie's infection origin, not infection origin,
totally,
but like in the mall. To me, like I was actually less impressed by that. I felt, to me, like that should have been a 10-minute flashback.
Well, that's a what is it, DCL?
Oh, downloadable content.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In the game.
Interesting.
So like once the whole game came out,
weirdly it feels that way. Now that you mention that, it feels that way.
Yeah, that was like, and it fits right in where it did in the game.
Okay,
but it was an add-on. Like once you've played through the whole game, you can add on this, and it was fit in the exact same time period in the game of like it's when Joel was injured and Ellie had to go find medicine for him. That she went to this mall and it conjured up all these memories that she had of going to a mall.
Okay.
So it all fit correctly in the timeline, but it was not part of the original game.
Yeah, it felt forced. And I recognize that like, yeah, episode 3 could feel forced too, and I get that, but it just felt like y'all could have accomplished everything you accomplished in this 45, 50 minutes. You could have done in 10.
Yeah.
And like
ironically, like episode 3 was all accomplished in a letter.
Exactly.
In the game.
Exactly.
That he reads for a second as Frank's body's hanging. He's like, oh, well, fuck you, Frank. And that's literally it.
Yeah. It's funny. And like I've had some conversations with friends of like the differences in the game and the differences in the series, and like I find that fascinating too.
Well, I think it's good to do that. Like I've always said of like all of the Disney the live action of the classic animated things, like to me, the ones that work the best are the ones that they change up the story.
Exactly. Don't do it beat for beat.
Like The Lion King was beat for beat, and to me it was boring. Like I know how this story goes.
Yeah.
Like I don't need an absolute exact retelling of that story.
But Cruella is pretty good.
Cruella was really good. It's completely interesting. It was like a whole nother different version. I think, that allows it to be its own thing.
Exactly.
Do that.
So I want to get into some of the deeper philosophical things real quick.
All right.
We got one more beer.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. You want me to go get it?
Let's go get that big little thing.
Is that big little thing?
Big little thing.
Do you go like big little thing? Or do you like big little thing?
I think it's a big little thing.
Gotcha. Well, however we're going to say it. You want me to pour in the glass?
Indeed.
I mean, we could pass this can back and forth.
We could.
Nah, I'm going to pour in a glass.
All right.
I got all over the mic.
A little bit on the britches, too.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
That sound doesn't get old.
Hold on, let it settle. Let it settle. Your big little thing has a big head.
Big ass head.
Big
on that
ass
little
head
thing.
on it. You ever read some can words?
Yeah, hit me. No, with the can words.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, you sure?
About to put you to sleep.
Government warning number 1. According to the Surgeon General,
Is that it?
Oh, well, yeah, basically.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Please recycle.
You don't have to read all of it.
Okay. No, Sierra Nevada little. Sorry, I just saw little thing.
Little big thing.
Yeah.
Big little thing.
Sierra Nevada Big Little Thing IPA, Imperial IPA, 9% ABV. That's it.
Boom.
Yep.
Hopping on up to 9.
Speaking of all the colors, look at them.
Yeah, it's pretty. The color right off the bat kind of surprises me.
Why?
I think I expect it to always be darker, but it's actually relatively the same color.
Yep.
As kind of almost like everything.
Yeah. Every little thing.
Every little thing.
I would say it's the same color as the Hazy Little Thing, just without the haze.
Right.
Like, I mean, you can't exactly see through it, but you almost can.
How about on that nose?
Ew.
I feel like that's a pretty dangerous nose.
It is okay. It's a little subdued, just a little bit, but you know that it's got some percentage.
Well, because we know, like, to me, the nose is so much more quiet than the Hazy Little Thing.
You're right.
So that's dangerous.
It is dangerous. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's subdued, but like I know,
I know it's packing a punch.
Yeah, it's definitely not as floral. It's not as fruity. It's not as dank, but
it's IPA.
It's an IPA.
You definitely know that.
You know, it's got some hop characteristics there, but like I said, it's just not. It's not dank hop.
Yeah. No, off the nose, I would think, oh yeah, no, this is probably like just your average IPA.
Yeah.
Probably hanging around 5.5, 6 maybe.
Nasser. 9.
9, you say?
I do say. Shall we?
Yeah. And there it is.
But it's like mid palate, back end.
Yeah.
Initially, it's just friendly and IPA,
yeah,
fruity, full.
Beer.
Yeah, it's beer.
It's beer.
But it's mid palate, back end,
and that finish. It doesn't finish. It keeps going. Like I still got it. It's still hanging on to me.
But it's not. It's not Russian Imperial Stout boozy.
No, and it's not thick like that.
No, it's really not.
It's thick-ish.
I would say the Hazy Little Thing is a heavier mouthfeel. This is a lighter mouthfeel, but you can tell the ABV is higher.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of warming in my tummy.
Yeah, to me it's the volume of flavor.
Yeah.
Goes to like 12.
Yep. What are those notes?
Caramel. Caramelly hop.
I was leaning like bourbony notes. I'm like, maybe I'm just thinking higher ABV, but yeah, I think caramel is right.
Caramelly hoppiness. I mean, it's not obviously like bourbon wise. It's not that.
No. But
it's like this caramelized
rich
hop, but it's
a little toasted note.
It's intense.
Yeah.
A little roasty toasty there.
But still like this like really nice levity, bright kind of fruity pop too, where it's not like and it's not super sweet. Like that's my problem with a lot of Russian Imperial stouts and things that are pushing 12, 9 to 12%. It's like, God, why is this so damn sweet?
Yeah.
But like this, it's not. I mean, I would say like it's slightly more sweet than the other three.
Right.
But it's not like, liquefied cake.
No, it's definitely not that. But like that fruit note that you're talking about, it's like that over-ripened fruit.
Yes.
Where it's like
perfect.
Slightly like unpleasant fruit.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like, you ever walked up to like a...
Gives me a little bit of that fruit.
Yeah. You ever walked up to like, I don't know, like an orange tree where the oranges sat on the tree a bit too long?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of note.
Yeah.
And like...
It's a little squishy.
Yeah, a little squishy. But not unpleasant. Like I know you just went... It's not unpleasant to me. It's just, it could be very easily though.
Yeah, I can't go as far as to say unpleasant, but it's edging up next to it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I would say this. Out of the 4,
yeah,
this would be the one that I'm most reticent to drink.
Indeed.
The other 3, totally crushable.
Yep.
Big Little Thing, I got to be in the mood.
Yeah.
Delicious.
What mood is that? Where you at?
Ooh.
That's the tough part for me. I
Right.
I
It's not
agree
beach.
1,000%. Like The other three, just about anywhere.
Yeah.
Like they fit just about anywhere.
I feel like you either begin or end your night with this. One of the two.
But this one's a little bit of a struggle, so it's like, I don't know. I've definitely got to be in a mood to like give it its due.
Yep.
And be cognizant of like, all right, you drinking this one. Because one, higher ABV, you got to be ready for that.
Yep.
But two, it's not just easy drinking.
No.
Like it takes you.
Takes a minute.
You got to be focused.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some of the philosophical kind of aspects here.
Okay. Yep.
And for me, there are two things that really stand out in this.
Okay.
And the first is a conversation on morality.
Okay.
Okay. And this comes to fruition to me in the very final episode.
Yeah.
In the last, maybe 15 minutes of episode 9.
The big question.
Yep.
Like the big question of the whole thing.
Sure. Joel has gotten Ellie to the Firefly base.
Yeah.
The Firefly
the whole point is Joel has been tasked with taking Ellie to this group that will be able to take her immunity and turn that into a vaccine.
Right. And
then arriving there, they realize that to be able to do that, they're going to have to kill her.
correct. And like the way they say
it's
it,
something within her brain.
yeah, exactly. The way they say
Something
it,
there.
they don't say that directly to him, but he knows, and we as viewers know exactly what they mean.
Yeah.
That the
She's not going to survive the procedure.
cordyceps fungal infection is a part of her. It's in her brain. And in order to do this, we have to get to her brain.
Yeah.
And again, it's never explicitly said, like, you're going to kill her, but he knows.
Yeah.
It's kind of presented to Joel of like, this is what she would want.
Right.
He then goes on a Punisher-like rampage
Yeah, rage.
and kills every human in that building, as far as we can tell.
Well, not in a vengeful way. It's just, she's coming with me.
Exactly.
You're not doing this to her.
and
I'm not
exactly-
losing another child.
Exactly. Like, I am taking this girl with me.
Yeah.
I have become attached. She is
You try
my
to
child.
stop me, and that's what we've grown to understand Joel is
Exactly.
through the course of the series, that he is the guy that you go to get shit done.
Yep.
And it's he's the one person you don't piss off.
Yep.
And you pissed him off.
You pissed him off. And like she, Marlene, I think her name is.
Yeah.
Something like that. She even says like, I don't want to be the person indebted to you.
Yeah.
And like, that's not like the last thing she says to him before he goes on this rampage. And you're right. It's not a revenge filled rampage. It's she's coming with me and you people are in my way.
If you try to stop me, I will end you.
Yeah, and that's like that is best told like not by the people who are all holding guns, but by the doctor at the very end before he gets Ellie. The doctor looks at him and says, "I'm not going to let you take her." He picks up a scalpel. Joel shoots him in the head.
Yep.
Like no question. There's not a get out of my way. It's okay, bye. And it's like, holy shit! Like for
Have you looked into anything about part 2?
no.
That character is very important.
Interesting. I'm sure that character. Well, initially, like literally, once he shoots that doctor, you're talking about the doctor, right?
Yeah.
Once he shoots that doctor, I'm like, shouldn't have done that. Like, I understand why you did that, but shouldn't have done that. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So you might have killed the one person. This is just me not knowing anything.
Yeah.
You might have killed the one person that could have saved people.
Yeah.
And
Humanity.
yeah.
And you saved one person.
Yeah. So that brings me to kind of some of the philosophical perspective here.
Yeah, that's the big question.
I looked at Carol as we finished that episode, and I'm like, is Joel a good person or a bad person? After we watched that, and at the very end, you see like them come back to it's supposed to be like Jackson Hole or something, Wyoming, and we're kind of talking about this, and I come to the conclusion that in this world there is no such thing as good and evil. Joel just is, and he has chosen this. Like in this fallen world, there is no good or bad. I agree. He chose one person over maybe a collective. And that's my other philosophical perspective. We'll talk about that in a second. But he chose an individual over a collective. And I do not fault him for it at all. I would never look at Joel in this instance and say, wow, you are a terrible human.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, even in the real world, not just in this fictitious landscape, like There are instances where you come to those things of like there was no right or wrong. There was just what happened. I understand both sides of that argument. I understand that like it's one versus many. I get all of that. But I can't fault you for choosing what you chose because I get both sides of that argument.
Yep.
And it's not a right or a wrong. It's just that's what the choice was.
And that to me is what's interesting in terms of like Joel says it multiple times in the series of like, you're just a kid. And I'm like, I'm not good at dealing with these things. I'm not good at like explaining. I think Ellie at one point is like, nope, you're not. I think it's when she kills she stabs the kid she shoots the kid who's trying to attack Joel, or maybe she stabbed him. I don't remember, in Kansas City.
Right. Early on.
When they first get there.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with her killing someone. And she's like, this is not the first time. And he's like, you shouldn't have had to, you shouldn't have had to do that.
Right.
And like, it's at him trying to like instill in or carry this kind of version of morality. But to some degree, I'm asking like, why? In this fallen kind of perspective, it's not about what is right and wrong. Like you said, it's about like, this is just what we decided.
Right.
This is what happened.
Yeah.
It's that like return to the animalistic nature. This infection, there is no right or wrong for this infection. Like you said this earlier.
It just is what it is.
It just is. Like it will attack anyone. There is no choosing. It just is. And I think like Joel embodies that too.
Yeah.
Of like, no, these decisions are just what they are. Tess embodies this when, she ultimately sacrifices herself, even though she was going to die. She sacrifices herself for him, for him and Ellie to be able to escape.
Right.
And it's just like, nope, this is a circumstance. Here's where we are. Sorry.
Yeah. It's just another one of those things of like, as a parent, I get Joel's perspective.
Yeah.
There's this, it does not matter.
Right.
I don't care who it would save. And genuinely, I don't care if you're okay with it.
Right.
I'm not okay with it. And that's where we are right now. I've got the power to stop this, and I will.
Right. Which brings me to my other philosophical perspective. I think so many disaster movies, so many like even zombie-esque movies and series are about like the collective, of like saving the collective, saving humanity, saving everyone. And this to me is not about that, at least in terms of what I've seen series wise. It's very much like it's about the individual and what is the individual doing. And I think Joel embodies that. And to some degree, Ellie too. It's yes, like she recognizes that I'm trying to go do this thing to ultimately save someone, but not really on her own volition. She's told she's doing this. She's told by the Fireflies that she's going to go do this.
No, she for Ellie, that is the importance of that episode with her friend early on of she wants to be able to do something to be able to save people because she wanted to save her and she couldn't. There was nothing that she could do.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Ellie very much has the perspective of like, I don't care if I live or die. If I can help save people, maybe
I was so focused on Joel and his perspective that I didn't really understand that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but that makes more sense in the very end where she's like, swear to me that this is what happened.
Yeah. And that's a huge thing in the next part.
Interesting.
Yeah. She very much has that perspective of like, I don't want to live here in this. Like, this place sucks. Like, if I can sacrifice myself to fix this, do it. Like 1,000% do it.
I don't think I got that vibe, but when now that you say that, now that does make more sense. Like, and I think it's because of like the very first episode, her counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, fuck you, or whatever. Like, it's like she didn't want to be here.
Yep.
She just happened to figure out, yes, I am immune, and okay.
Yeah.
Now y'all know I'm immune. So all right.
Well, and and it's. They gave more of a purpose to that in the show that like they don't really talk about like her being a part of school or anything like that in the game.
Sure.
It is very much just like we found this kid who's immune. Like you don't know anything about her mom and all that stuff in the game. That was all add on, which I think a lot of it was absolutely great also. But it is very much just we found this anomaly. There's this kid and she's immune and we need to get her somewhere where people can figure out what does she have.
Gotcha.
And how can we spread that to others.
Yeah.
Learning those things about her That 1,000%. And that is why that is so important there at that last scene of like, swear to me. Like that what you're telling me is true.
Because she wants
that
to be
there's
of
a
some
lot
use.
of people like me and that they couldn't figure it out. Like, swear to me that's true. Because again, that's very important moving forward.
On that note.
Yeah. On that note.
You got anything else?
No, I really enjoyed the series. I think it was a really good adaptation. I think there was definitely some bits. I think we're still working through this era that we're living in of the streaming service.
Absolutely.
Where some things absolutely crush the effects and everything, and it makes it feel cinematic. Lots of this did feel cinematic, but there were also definitely times where it felt like a television show.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, like there was just some times where it just didn't quite have the polish on it. But overall, I would definitely say like 7 out of 10.
Oh, I
enjoyed it.
I might go a little higher. I might go 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
I thought
For me, like the game is 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I thought it was good. And knowing,
I think that's probably part of it.
Right.
Like, I've seen the game. I've watched that.
Sure.
I've honestly watched it a few times because it is really good. So to see how good it could be, you know, to see like a different version, which I really liked, but I think it's a little bit lesser quality.
I quite liked it. There are some things I'm like, why'd you choose that? Or why'd you do it that way? That took me out of it a little bit, but I thought the performances were good. I really enjoyed it, and I'm interested to see where they go.
Yeah.
Well, we want to know, what do you, listener, think of The Last of Us?
Yeah. What did you think of it? What was your favorite episode? Was Joel right or wrong?
Ooh.
I mean, that's like the question that everybody asks.
Yeah.
Like, did he do the right thing? Did he do the wrong thing?
Yeah. And I want to know, like, do you like the gameplay more than you like the series? If you have seen both.
Yeah.
If you are like me and you haven't played the game, like, did this land with you as it did with me? We also want to know, what do you think about Big Little Things?
Yeah. What did you think of all the little things? Have you had any of the little things?
I just mentioned one. I meant all the little things.
Yeah. What little things have you had, and what are your thoughts on them?
Have you had the Sunny?
If you haven't, you should.
Have you had the Wild?
You've got to have the Wild.
Have you had the Hazy?
Hazy's a classic.
And have you had the Big?
It is one big little thing.
Go out, grab a pack. You can basically find it at every probably major store and or beer wine emporium.
That's the best thing about this pack. They're so different.
Yeah,
they're all 4 different things.
So good,
and that's a great variety pack. That's variety.
100%.
Yeah,
it's a great variety pack.
It's good.
You can reach out to us. Tell us what you think about both of those things via email. That's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also reach us through social media.
You can always find us under one word.
One word?
DREP and Stone. Drepanstone.
Oh, that's how it's said?
Yeah, just search that literally anywhere.
Got it.
You'll find it.
Ooh.
Lots of content, lots of things. Find a thing, share a thing, like a thing, comment on a thing.
Tell us about your things.
And tell us about your little things.
Or big things.
And your big little things.
Yeah.
Your little big things.
Or your hazy things.
Yeah.
Or your wild things.
Oh, your wild thing.
Little
thing. Wild little thing.
Sure.
You make my heart sing.
There it is. You can support the podcast via Patreon. That's patreon.com/drepandstone. A lot of really cool things going on there. Some episode notes, some pours with, some behind the scenes, some meetups, some really cool stuff. And we know you're going to like it. You can also support the podcast by rating Drep and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts. And finally, Kyle.
Yes, sir.
You can support the podcast by telling someone, your best friend, your worst friend, your dog, your grandma, your dad, anyone.
Your grandma's dog.
There you go. About Drep and Stone. Although if you're going to tell the dog, like, tell someone else too, because the dog's not going to say a whole lot. And if the dog is saying a whole lot, reach out for help.
Let us know. We'll have him on the podcast.
Exactly. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show.
Cheers. Hey, everybody.
Hey guys.
Guess what we're doing today?
We're gonna drink something.
And we're recording an episode.
Oh my goodness.
I know. We should not bring that up. Never mind.
Goodness. Ew, doggy. Pain.
Oh,
It's aggressive.
oh.
Dang.
Nickname in college.
It's like that tiny elephant from like the Looney Tunes shorts. It's like this little baby elephant. It's a big little thing.
That's a little big thing.
That a little, I guess elephants are big generally. Here's a little version of it. So it'd be more like Ant-Man. He's a big little thing. But giant man. It's a big little thing. It's a little big thing. I don't know. It's a big little thing.
You were in the middle of a thought.
Oh, you were.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
On that note.
On that note.